Tonight on Joy News Prime, opposition NDC demands immediate arrest and prosecution of some persons said to have attacked Dododo MP Nilante Vanderpoy, vowing a future NDC government will go after the people if the police fail to act.
Not the parliamentary candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dododo, insult our intelligence. We know who those thugs are, and we know who their sponsors are, and we know that he's part of what happened.
In the camp of the People's National Convention, there is confusion about the date for the party's Congress to elect national executives and the 2020 flag bearer.
I've made this point clear and on many occasions.
The Council of Elders
Minority in Parliament is warning Ghana risk being blacklisted as money laundering destination over government's decision to establish the Mineral Royalty Special Purpose Vehicle, EJAPA, in a tax haven. It is demanding certain critical disclosures about the agreement, including $2 million paid out as transaction expenses.
Neither do we have the prospectus for us to know the cost of the transaction. We are reliably informed that they have spent $5 million on this transaction, even though we have had some $2 million as legal fees. If they don't want us to be guessing and hazarding numbers, let them come true, consistent with the requirement of the Public Financial Management Act. What is the cost of this transaction?
Second MP Andre Japa Mesa, meanwhile, has been explaining the money went to several entities. Also, controversial sponsorship payouts by GNPC to a number of entities in 2019 comes up at Public Accounts Committee meeting, leading to a flaring up of tempers.
I asked the GNPC rep, the deputy CEO, if GNPC does corporate social responsibility. His response was clear. The GNPC does not do corporate social responsibility.
And in business?
Coming up in business, first set of passengers arrive at the Kotoka International Airport following its reopening to commercial flight. It's not too clear, though, how some passengers managed to avoid paying the $150 test fee.
Who had gone out to search for greener pastures. So there were three categories, and they have been coming down. And they go through the 14-day mandatory quarantine. Now, KLM.
And later in this bulletin, residents of Western Region's Buswa Beach Town hail reopening of the Kotoka International Airport to commercial flights, saying they're optimistic the tourists will start trickling in to revive the local economy. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Joy News Prime comes to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle here in Accra on Noyo Digital Terrestrial TV, because we are free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144.
Joy News Prime headline.
Let's start with President Akufo-Addo, who says government is not relenting on its efforts to guarantee access to water to all Ghanaians. The president, who says this when he cut salt for the extension of the 5-district water project to Adaklu and its adjoining districts Tuesday, said that Adaklu water project, when completed, will result in an increase in water coverage in the region by 6% and also help reduce the time used in searching for water and therefore relieving especially women and children from that burden.
Terrorist attacks on our soils and to prevent the importation of the virus into our country, because of which we have closed our borders. They have not been stationed at our borders to execute any political or ethnic agenda. I, Nana Abudanko Akufo-Addo, have struggled long and hard to become president of this country, and I measure my success in Ghana being a happy, united, and prosperous place for all her citizens. In my time as president, development has been distributed equitably to all parts of the country, and the impact of our policies has been felt by all. also sure that neither the NPP nor I have any plan whatsoever to bring division to any part of the country.
Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amoakwata, has promised the Volta region 826 road projects. The minister, who was addressing the media at Ho ahead of the president's tour of the region, noted every region is getting its fair share of the road projects, adding that it is through roads that a country can open up for development.
We have to use the national standard because they used to be good and they are considered also to be good. But as vehicles are running on them each day, do we keep up with up-to-date maintenance on them? Because maintenance, if you build a brand new road, maintenance starts the very day you introduce traffic on it. That very day, maintenance starts. Because something can happen on the way and on the road. So, I just want to give a picture of the critical nature of roads as of January 2017. It's therefore not surprising that the good people of this country, including all of us in this room, were calling on His Excellency the President to fix roads. And the President said it repeatedly, time without number, that anywhere he went, anywhere he had the opportunity to meet chiefs to address debtors, anywhere he had the opportunity even to attend church service, civil society groups, 2% is fair, 29% poor, you are, to us and to His Excellency the President. Let us take that the 39% represents what is good. We consider the remaining 61% as poor, so that it challenges you to do greater work. Because to us, there is a very, 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 very thin line between poor and fair. The engineers, let's give it to them, because they are using technical lenses. I don't have any lenses, and I'm saying that I don't see any difference between fair and poor. All of them are poor. Even those that we consider good, the 39% members of the press, you and I know that we still have a lot of work to do on them. But the remaining 77% of our roads were either at earth or gravel stage. And there is what we call condition of roads, and condition of road can be categorized into three. Either the road is good, either the road is fair, or the road is poor. And as at that date, only 39% of our roads are considered to be good. 39%, 23% fair, and 29% poor. The engineers always disagree with me, and understandably so, because they look at things with engineering and technical eyes. I look at it from the viewpoint of all of you as a layman. I always break it into two, just to make it simpler and to challenge us that we have a lot of work to do.
The opposition NDC is demanding immediate arrest and prosecution of persons who assaulted Ododuodio MP Nilante Vanderpoy. The former sports minister has accused some operatives of the National Security Secretariat in the company of 10 others of brutalizing him in front of the Jamestown police station. The Ododuodio MP said he had gone to the police station to secure bail for a journalist who he had been arrested while working for him. My colleague Joseph Akable has been following up on this story and has come through with this report.
All of a sudden, I saw these boys, numbered about 12, coming into the police station.
NDC MP Nilante Vanderpoel recounting the attack on him. His car is still parked in front of the Jamestown police station with the two back tires deflated. He alleges the men who attacked him were led by an individual he believes to be a national security operative.
The leader of the group is called Akpo, or One Face. He's a national security operative. Then his senior brother, Nyokaya Mas, nicknamed Tenjin. Then there is Akofi, who is a boxer. Then there's Kola, who is a footballer. There is Nana. Nana is a nephew to Akpo and Nyokaya Mas. Then there's Kudi. Then there's Chris, who also claimed to be a national security operative. And then others. But these are the front men, the people I really saw when I was being hit.
But you are an MP for the area,
yeah,
and you know these individuals. Why would you think they would attack you for nothing?
Well, they've been close with the MPP parliamentary candidate all this while. During the registration exercise, there were several instances where these boys were brandishing weapons, shooting discriminately, harassing people, intimidating people in here.
This has left him in pain.
And also in my eye. You know, I've had problem with my eye in the past, so a little bit of pressure on my eye makes me a bit distant, and I'm also feeling pain in my chest where I was hit twice. But apart from that, within my spirit, I'm good.
But NPP parliamentary candidate Nilante Bannerman is disputing this narration. He says the individuals are not national security operative.
From what I gather, there are these boys who have converted from the NDC to MP. And I think they have scores to settle with the MP. That I'm not going to condone. And I've told them, if they have issues with him, they should find ways of settling it. He, as an MP, should also find ways of approaching these guys and settling whatever scores he has with them, so that these things will not be happening. This has nothing to do with NDC or MPP people clashing. No. It's purely an internal thing in the NDC that because of that, the people have even defected to the MPP.
So do you know these persons who assaulted Mr. Vanderpoel?
From the names that he alleged, I know them. If what he is saying is true, then I know the boys. Because he mentioned names, and I know the names he mentioned. And I'm telling you on authority, they are not security operative, none of them. In fact, the only person in there who is a national security operative, he is only mentioning the person's name, but the person was not there.
The Jamestown police says it has commenced investigations into the matter.
The opposition NDC meanwhile says official government led by its flag bearer John Mahama will prosecute these individuals should the police fail to act. Sami Jemfi is NDC communications officer.
Let not the parliamentary candidate of the New Patriotic Party insult our intelligence. We know who those thugs are, and we know who their sponsors are, and we know that he is part of what happened. That nobody in the Odododio constituency belonging to the NDC has any problem with Honorable Nilante Vanderpoel to have necessitated that attack on him. What happened is a handiwork of MPP-sponsored thugs who were deployed by the MPP candidate in the area, and other MPP leaders that we have supplied their identities to the police, and we are expecting that investigations will be conducted. You understand? But like we have always maintained, crime is crime. And there is no statute of limitation to the prosecution of crime. Crime has no expiry date. And so we are law-abiding citizens. That is why we have done the needful in accordance with due process and the rule of law by reporting the matter to the police. We expect that investigations will be conducted and the perpetrators brought to book. But should they be left off the hook, like the perpetrators of the Ayawaso West Wagon violence were left off the hook, and like the perpetrators of the Banda violence and all the other violence incidents we witnessed during the voter registration exercise before, during, and after have been left off the hook by their chief sponsor, President Akufo-Addo, they should know that they will not walk free forever, because surely the day of reckoning, the day of accountability is coming for them, and they will answer for their crimes. That is all we have to say.
From the NDC, let's talk about the other minority parties, because with just about 3 months to the December 7 polls, the leadership of the People's National Convention is sharply divided over the date for its Congress to elect national executives and the flag bearer. Party chair Bernard Mona says September 19 was set as the date for the Congress after a National Executive Committee meeting, but the former flag bearer Edward Mahama also announced September 26 as the date for the Congress following a National Council meeting. The party is currently undecided as to when to elect its flag bearer as the days for the election inch close. PNC Chairman Bernard Mona and the party's chairman of the Council of Elders, George Luri Bayobo, have been speaking to my colleague Araba Kumsin on Election Brief on the Joy News channel.
When NEC takes a decision, it is not right and it is not fair to come and box that decision to say that that is Bernard Mona's decision. Bernard Mona has no decision. This decision of the 19th, this decision of the filing fees, this decision of setting up the Congress Committee are all as a result of the National Executive Committee of our party.
Mr. Bayobo, what is your understanding of what the agreement is with regards to when the party is holding its Congress?
Issued by the Council of Elders, the Congress will take place on the 26th of September.
I'm sure you just heard your chairman, Bernard Mona. He's there on the screen. He's laughing. He says it's 19th, is it? But you say 26th.
No, it's not the 19th. It is 26th of September.
I am of Northern origin, and I respect leaders who also want to be respected. This Council of Elders, upon several calls to the chairman of the Council of Elders, declined to even pick my call. You go and issue a statement running down the decision of NEC. So how will the party function if the structures are not working? Council of Elders is not an institution on its own. It is an institution created by NEC. Why are we doing that when we are elders? Now, when the council issues statements, the council is not even fully clothed with what the constitution of the party says. The last amendment at the National Delegates Congress of our party says that all deputy positions of our party must be contested. If you read the council's letter or statement, they say that the positions of deputies will have to be appointed to ensure regional balance.
Mr. Mona, so I'd like to ask you, and also that question, the same question to Colonel Bayobo, can you agree on one date to hold this particular Congress? We're just entering September. We are less than 3 months away from the elections.
If the Council of Elders will behave like a Council of Elders to want to listen to the National Executive Committee, you cannot just get up and say because you are Council of Elders, you have become an authority.
Is that to suggest that you are going ahead with your 19th September Congress?
I'm saying that any other decision will have to be a decision of NEC. If the Council of Elders want to meet with NEC to more or less call a truce, the Council can call NEC and say that we
education, because balloting for the preliminary stage of the National Science and Maths Quiz is currently happening at the Nat Hall in Accra. Let's cross over to the grounds for a bit of the event.
Seminary. Now, they left the competition last year at the 1/8 stage, hoping to do a lot better this year, no doubt. St. Francis Xavier Junior Seminary. And the third school is?
Zamsi Senior High Technical School.
Zamsi SHTS. They didn't make it last year. They're here this year. Round of applause for them. Contest number 3.
Wale Wale Senior High Technical School.
Wale Wale SHTS. The Vice President will be cheering them on. They were eliminated at the preliminary stage last year, but hoping to do better this year. Second school?
St. Charles, what is it?
St. Charles Minor Seminary, SHS. And they didn't make it last year either. Lots and lots of schools from the northern zone making it for the first time this year, and we're excited to see that. We want to see the inner strength being shown this year. Third school in the third contest.
Damongo Senior High School.
Damongo SHS. Now, they haven't been with us since 2016, so they're making a comeback, and we welcome them. Competition number 4.
Sandema Senior High Technical School.
Sandema SHTS. Now, they were the favorites in 2018, but they were eliminated at the 1/8 stage by Utibuating SHS in 2019. What a difference a year makes. Second school?
Bolgatanga Senior High School.
Bolgatanga SHS. They ended their run last year at the preliminary stage. This year, hoping to do better. Third school?
Navrongo Senior High School.
Navrongo SHS. Another school.
We'll be in and out of the Nat Hall for more on the National Science and Maths quiz. But the debate on the controversial Ejapa royalties agreement is far from over, as the minority in Parliament warns that Ghana could be elevated to a high-risk destination for money laundering. These concerns are in reaction to Ejapa being an offshore entity set up in Jersey. They say government is being dodgy with details of the agreement to avoid scrutiny. Here is Minority Leader Haruna Idris addressing a news conference at the NDC's headquarters earlier today.
And gentlemen, the incorporation of Ejapa as an offshore company in Jersey and the Channel Island, a tax haven, is worrying. The tax havens are generally known for their lack of transparency in matters of corporate governance. So you should be questioning government why they were interested in registering Ejapa in a tax haven. Tax havens are susceptible to money laundering and thus elevate the risk of Ghana being listed as a money laundering jurisdiction, as already observed by the European Union, who are attempting to blacklist Ghana come the 1st of October as a major money laundering destination. You recall what they have already quoted the European Union on this matter. The OECD and the United Nations use evidence of these offshore deals to rate countries on the effectiveness of their anti-money laundering regimes, including laws, regulations, policies, and other government actions. And you see, even in the Ejapa agreement, they are saying that even if a new government comes, you shall have no power to change its chief executive. What about death? Force majeure. Maybe they didn't avert their minds to that.
Also speaking at the news conference is the minority's ranking member for finance, Kaiselato Forsen, discounting the defense of the Deputy Finance Minister on the issue of double taxation on earnings from the agreement. He says Ghana has a double taxation agreement with the UK specifically for such situations.
I was at a loss when I heard the Deputy Minister, the Honourable Charles Edubuahin, make a statement that the reason why government decided to incorporate Ejapa at Jersey is because of the avoidance of double taxation. I want to put on record that that cannot be true, and that can never be the case, because clearly Ghana has a double tax agreement with the United Kingdom, UK. And as such, if government of Ghana decided to have listed in mainland England or anywhere in the United Kingdom, other than the tax haven, the Virgin Island, or Channel Island, the same tax exemption rules would have applied because of the double tax agreement that Ghana government has with the United Kingdom, dating back maybe 20 to 40 years ago. It's something that we have in place. But let me say that there are reasons why people list or incorporate in tax havens. One of such reasons include the fact that it is an area where there is very little corporate governance, and areas of transparency is something that people can take advantage of. Clearly, this administration is trying to hide beneficial owners of Ejapa. and people that are idly going to be the shareholders. And that is what has motivated them to list at the, to actually incorporate at Jersey in the Channel Island. So that may be the case. And clearly the minority leader stated.
The minority is therefore asking government to provide answers to questions of opaqueness in the agreement, which it describes as being pursued with indecent haste. They say it does not meet standards of due diligence and constitutional requirements, and that a future NDC government will not respect it.
We want to know, and we demand for and on behalf of the people of Ghana, how the procurement process was done for Africa Legal Associates of Gabi Ochre Daku, the cousin of both President Nana Akufo-Addo and Ken Ofori-Atta, and the other legal entities that have been named. We demand just a basic minimum information. How were they procured, and how much have they been paid, and whether this was done competitively and advertised for the good people of Ghana. Even how the CEO of Ajapa is determined, whether for the public record, we can have any advertised thing in the international competitive bid process to appreciate this. We also want to know the cost of the transaction and how much have been paid to those legal firms. And then, why the choice of a senior minister's son? It didn't go through an international competitive selection process, and you will know that even his selection predated the company as registered in Ghana and predated the completion of his approval from Parliament to probe further. What considerations went into the remuneration of the senior minister's son, Osafu Mafu? Why is he, together with other board members, guaranteed employment for the foreseeable future, irrespective of their output, a longer period of time? Our concerns on conflict of interest, I've just shared one with you. Gabi Ochre Daku law firm advising on this shady Ajapa deal is similar to the objectionable practice of Data Bank serving as a book runner on government bonds and co-manager of Euro bonds. All these transactions are motivated by fees which are certainly paid upfront, and therefore they say we should not raise questions even when you see this glaring issues of conflict of interest. And by the way, be informed that conflict of interest is at the heart of corruption in the world and in Ghana. It remains a veritable source of it. The selection of Data Bank Brokerage Limited as book runner means that Data Bank profits every time the government issues bonds on the domestic market. On the domestic market, while in 2019 alone amounted to about 64 billion. Since 2017, Data Bank has also been a co-manager of Ghana's Eurobond transactions. We also demand secrecy of information on the company. We want full disclosures. What is the value of the company at the time of its incorporation? We need to know. We are not given information on how they arrive at the value of the company. So tomorrow they can just decide to give it some value to serve their purposes. Cash flow forecast for the duration of the project. For purpose of our assumptions, we do not know. Neither do we have the prospectus for us to know the cost of the transaction. We are reliably informed that they have spent $5 million on this transaction, even though we have had some $2 million as legal fees. If they don't want us to be guessing and hazarding numbers, let them come true, consistent with the requirement of the Public Financial Management Act. What is the cost of this transaction?
Meanwhile, Secondary MP Andrew Ejapa Mensah has been explaining the money went to several entities. We're still live on Joy News Prime. We'll take a break. When we return, there is more. But still to come, controversial sponsorship payouts by GNPC to a number of entities in 2019 comes up at Public Accounts Committee meeting leaders, leading to a flaring up of tempers.
I asked the GNPC rep, the deputy CEO, if GNPC does corporate social responsibility. His response was clear. The GNPC does not do corporate social responsibility.
There is more plus business when we return from the break.
And you're welcome. And now in business, it's day one of the reopening of the Kotoka International Airport, and already about 5 flights have arrived with passengers subjected to the antigen test for COVID-19. Charles Aite was at the airport and now reports.
And you can see on the screen notice there, 3 international flights we're expecting in any moment from now. We're expecting from Luanda, we're expecting from Amsterdam as well as Lisbon, all within the time frame of 14:30 GMT. It's very crucial. When most of these guys come in, all of them come in, they're expected to go through the PCR testing. Already we do know that this is going to cost so much money. It's raised so much concerns, but this is the instruction for now. If you could pan around to see how the entire mood of the entire place is, you could see people seated around waiting for their friends and family to come over so they could meet them from these 3 specific countries of origin. Ahead of arrival scheduled at 14:30 GMT, officials of the Ghana Customs Division were locked up in a meeting to finalize simulations for COVID-19 protocols. Joy Business cited workers of the airport company report in batches, having their temperatures checked before proceeding to their various sections of duty. Some passengers who spoke to Joy Business narrated the entire checkout process.
Everything went well.
How many minutes? How long did it take?
To go through 30 minutes or something, roughly.
And what about the cost? How much did it cost you?
Nothing.
The price?
I didn't pay anything, so.
For the PCR test?
I've done a PCR test prior to arrival, so.
So it was a smooth process for you?
Yeah, everything went straight.
Just 30 minutes. It's okay. Very fast. Just system is very nice. So some nurse is there. So just coming inside and then escort me, and then immigration, just checking the coronavirus, and then I have a PCR. Negative PCR test, so they are checking this one, okay? So negative, so they are checking, and then flight is the KLM, and they are okay, and then.
We cited some passengers being escorted by officials adorned in PPEs into a bus. The Deputy Interior Minister explains the reasons why.
Those who had gone out to search for greener pastures. So there were 3 categories, and they have been coming down. And they go through the 14-day mandatory quarantine. Now, KLM had already put in place those mechanisms, if you like, because what it is that passengers will have to pay, you are aware, and indicate hotels that they want to be quarantined. So those are the ones who have been granted waivers, that's all. And aside that, every passenger who has arrived, first official arrival, has had to go through the process.
Your questions yet unanswered. Matters regarding the transition of the entire evacuation process of persons who might not have checked in before the September 1 deadline, and the entire cost involved, the testing of the PCR, which many say is very much expensive. I'm Charles Aite reporting for Joy Business.
And that'll be it for business this hour. There's more after 8 p.m. when I return. There's sports after this.
My name is Hans Mensah, and it's now time for sports. And the Congress
of the Ghana Football Association has approved monthly allowance for the leadership of the association as recommended by the Frederick Committee. The three-man committee proposed that President Ketu Krakow be given a monthly salary of 12,000 Ghana cedis. His vice, Mark Addo, will receive 7,000 Ghana cedis, and the rest of the ESCO will receive 4,000 Ghana cedis.
First time in about 8 months, members of the Ghana Football Association Congress assembled to take decisions in relation to the governance Ghana objections from other sections of the Ghana Football Association membership. However, the meeting was a success as the members who assembled here approved every single proposal that was tabled before them. Notably, amongst them is the allowances to be given to the leadership of the Ghana Football Association. The president, KATH Edwin Simeon Okrako, would be given 12,000 Ghana cedis as his monthly allowance, and there's also going to be a sitting allowance of 1,600 Ghana cedis for him. His foreign travels is going to be $500 per diem, and there's also the other aspect of 1,000 Ghana cedis for his airtime, and local travels will cost the Ghana Football Association 600 Ghana cedis. Other nominations were also approved for other members of Congress, including his vice president. Executive Council member Randy Abe told Joyce Post that the meeting was a success and he believes the decisions that have been taken would have a major impact in the growth of Ghana football.
And because of COVID, we've not been able to congregate like this to deal with pertinent issues affecting our industry. And so it's a big opportunity. I've seen a lot of friends who I've not seen in a long while. And so for me, it's positive. The attendance, very, very, very impressive. The deliberations, top-notch quality. The decisions taken, I believe, will move the game forward. So very impressed, very happy, very, very excited about today.
The Minister for Youth and Sport, Isaac Esiama, called on the members that he told them the sanctity of Ghana football is only the key that is required for them to be able to attract the corporate world to invest in the game of football.
My special plea to the minister is that if you all believe as critical stakeholders, as decision makers, as people who call the shots in football, as people who are hugely placed to ensure that football develops, please, these three key words should guide all of us. The sanctity, the integrity, and the image of football should be protected at all times, at any platform that you find yourself. It's key. When you damage the brand, it affects you.
If these things many people believe that members of the Ghana Football Association adhere to, people feel that Ghana football will be on the rise. For Joy Sports from the Ghana Soccer Mansaka Center of Excellence, I am Muftar Nabila Abdullahi.
The Compensation Committee, Frederick Moore, has been defending the payment for the GFA Executive Council.
What I said as the chair was that before we decided any figures, we had a rationale and a working modality that we were going to use. We looked at the previous costs, the last 3 years' cost to the FA. We looked at a number of companies in Ghana, locally, big, small, medium, to see what they pay. 3, we also look at other associations. We ignored Nigeria and FIFA because we thought their budget was big and it would distort it. But finally, one of the most important things that we looked at was what are the roles that these people, the president, is going to perform for us. Right. We, as a committee, were not looking at how much we were going to pay him. We were looking at what benefit we were going to get from him. So it's a cost-benefit analysis. And I believe, and Congress approved it, that the decisions that we made and the methodology that we used was the right one. Because you don't pay people because they are there. You pay them because of the role that they are going to perform. But more importantly, when you're paying them, it has to be in context, inside what other people are getting in a similar role. But finally, we also looked at what was the impact to the budget for the coming year and the following year. And I think on the basis of the test that we did, we met all of them. And I'm sure that's why Congress also approved it.
Right, that's it for this installment. I'll be back with more. My name is Hans Mengsando.
For showbiz, Becky is here with the very latest. Hello, Becky.
Hello to you, Aisha. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you too?
Fine, thank you. This evening, let's talk about Raskuku's win at the 2020.
He also threw a party?
Oh, no, he didn't. Raskuku didn't, but he says that his award means a lot to the youth, and this will be an inspiration for the youth. Forget that he won the Album of the Year award. Yeah, Sarkodie was in this category, or Chiame Kwame Nasi, and
a lot of people tipped Sarkodie to win that, but he ended up going to Kitty.
Yeah, so Kitty was talking to us. He spoke to me in an exclusive interview, and he says that he's very much honored for this particular award.
Take
a picture. I would have taken a picture to end the show.
Your time is up. Okay, thank you so much for bringing us showbiz. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. We take you to the Bono East town of Dromankese, where one of the projects captured on government's website as ongoing is non-existent. Residents say there's no such project currently in place, contrary to government's claim that an upgrade of 3.95 kilometers of Dromankese town roads is ongoing. They, however, want the road swiftly done, as they say it is hampering economic activities in that community. Correspondent Anna Sabit was in the Nkranza North District and came through with this report.
For the past week, we've been tracking some projects government captured on its delivery tracker website as delivered by the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And this afternoon, we are here in the Dromankese community under the Nkranza North District of the Bono East region. This particular road project that was captured, a 3.95 kilometer road project that was indicated as ongoing on the delivery tracker website. So we set off today to find out from ourselves the situation on the ground, and we've been engaging some of the community folks, and this some of the things they've been telling us in relation to the state of the road here in Dromankese. Honestly, there are no machines currently on the road. We are still working in this dusty environment, and I haven't seen any machine here. I've heard that there is a road construction between Fakwasi and Atibu. Currently, there's no work on the road, but we've heard that the contractor will be here soon to start work. But as it stands, it's not true that work is ongoing here. Some of them tell us they've been seeing some few folks within the community in the past few days taking measurement of the road. So to them, that is the very reason why government might have captured it on its website. So they are optimistic that soon the road will be under construction as stated by government.
3 weeks in, and I'm also
3 weeks ago, I saw some officials taking measurements of this road, so we asked and we were told they were going to construct the town roads. But since then, we've not seen them again. We've seen officials taking measurements, and we are optimistic that it will soon be constructed. The current state of the road has several economic disadvantages to the people here who are predominantly farmers. They share with us the effects of the current state of the road to their economic activities. Our major headache is this road. It's terrible.
Even if you have to send a patient or a woman or neighbor to the hospital, the person might end up dying on the way.
This is a
farming community, and before our farm produce gets to the market, we end up running at loss.
They have a call on government to swiftly respond to this particular road as it connects the regional capital Techiman to the eastern part of the Bono East region. So they believe that once this particular road is constructed, commuting from the eastern part of the region to the regional capital Techiman will be quite easier for the people in this part of the country.
The road is dear to our house, so we call on the president to direct the road minister to swiftly tell the contractor to be on site within the month, because we suffer a lot when it rains. Our Member of Parliament has been up to the task, and we call on him to work out this road project for us.
From the Durumankese community here in the Nkranga North District of the Bono East region, I am Anas Sabit for Joy News.
The completion of the age-old maternity block at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital may miss its deadline by 6 months. This is due to structural defects identified by Contractor Construction UK, which is in charge of the project. Government got the project back on track after it was suspended for over 40 years. It was initially expected to be completed in 36 months, but project manager George Taras explains it is unlikely. Nanaya Ojima was part of a tour of the facility by the Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah and has filed this report.
The completion of the maternity block is being funded with 155 million euro funds secured through the Dutch Bank, Germany, and the UK Export Finance. Government got the project back on track after a series of media reports followed by a Joy News documentary, Next to Die, by Seth Kwame Boateng, which focused on the plight of mothers and babies in Ashanti's only referral center. Following a thorough assessment of the structure, contractors on the project say they have identified several defects which may delay its scheduled completion. George Taras is project manager.
Pathologies regarding the situations of the concrete, the resistance of the concrete, the rusty of the steel, some elements that are not constructed as the design shows. For the solutions that we have present, there is 6 months adding to the date of the completion.
The 750-bed facility would serve as a referral center for 12 of Ghana's 16 regions, an outpatient department, obstetrics unit, 10 operating theaters, lecture halls, among others, are part of the project. Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah assured contractors of government support for the project.
You go ahead and do what is right, even if that will mean you cannot work exactly within time, and there will be extension. It will be better we do it and do it well.
The minister also visited the project site for phase 2 of the redevelopment of the Kumasi Central Market project. It was learned there has been some delays due to COVID-19. Tony Yeboah Asare is architect at Avant-Garde Design, consultant for the project.
So we've done the procurement of the main steel works, the main steel structure. We've already placed an order. Immediately things improve and we are able to get the rest of the site. Construction will pick up as quickly as possible.
The Kumasi Airport project was its next stop. The project, being undertaken by Contractor Construction UK, was found to be progressing in earnest. Nana Ametepe is project consultant.
Challenges have been the COVID, because most of the products are offshore items which have been affected by productions in Europe. But the contractor has managed to do other works, because apart from the terminal building, there are some ancillary works, which are car parks and the new access road. And the contractor has managed to expedite works on that, and also on the aprons, as you see. those are all critical that could also be affected by rainfall.
The regional minister also inspected some roads under the 100-kilometer road project in Kumasi. Authorities say contractors are now in 4 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies across the city. Urban Roads Director Kumasi, Nana Atapoku-Ajman, says primer sealing has been done on most of the roads, awaiting first and second sealing.
Please that when these roads are constructed and handed over to the client, we should all ensure that washing of cars on the roads, changing of oils by mechanics, and even parking heavy axle load. I mean, every road is designed against a load bearing capacity. So if you bring a load that is more than the anticipated load bearing, it cannot withstand, and that can cause a lot of defects on our roads.
For Joy News, Nana Eljima reporting.
The Savilogo Municipal Hospital from January to July this year has recorded 69 cases of malnutrition with 8 deaths. According to the nutrition officer of the hospital, Philippine Dogo, malnutrition is a big problem in the municipality and needs attention. Northern Region correspondent Martina Bugri has more.
Speaking to Joy News in Savilogo, nutrition officer Madame Philippine Dogo said malnutrition is a public health concern that needs serious attention in the municipality.
When you take 10 children under 5 of them are likely to be malnourished and 3 severely malnourished. This year, we admitted 69 cases from January to July, out of which 8 of them died. And as a unit, we face a lot of challenges. And among them is got to do with the feeding. Mostly, parents have to buy the items for us to prepare the feed to take care of the child. And in most cases, some are not able to afford it. So therefore, there is delay in management.
We visited the home of 11-year-old Fatima, who is suffering from malnutrition. We are told in the past she had lost weight so drastically and could not walk. She also had bare sores around her body, attracting flies. But thankfully, World Vision's attention has been drawn to her plight, and we joined a health worker with the Savilogo Hospital, Combat Moses, to see her. He narrates how he first met the little girl.
Yeah, 2019, we came on our usual home visit, and I saw the girl was helpless. She couldn't come out of the room. When I asked the mother why she couldn't come, the mother said she has been sick for some time. And I think she's 11 years old. So I asked the mother if I could enter. So I entered and saw that she was helpless. She couldn't stand up. She was always lying down with house flies hovering around her. So I told the mother I wanted to try and see if I could help. So when we went back, I told my superior what we could do to help. And so I started supporting her with my own means, with some people who were also willing to support when they saw how pathetic the condition was. So we started treating her, and she became well somewhere December last year. So she became well, and for about 2 months she relapsed. So I had no means any longer. My means couldn't support her any longer. So I sought the support of World Vision.
Mother of Fatima, Asana Abukari, told Joy News it's been difficult raising money to treat her.
We have been with her to several hospitals, and we were given some medications until we were referred to the Savilogo Hospital. After several visits, anytime we go, we don't meet the doctor. So we stopped going to the hospital until we met Brad Charles, and he has been helping us. She got well, and then it started again. So I called to inform him.
Minority MPs on Parliament's Public Accounts Committee are questioning the basis for donations made by the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation to 5 entities, including the Economic and Organised Crimes Office and the First Lady's Rebecca Foundation. At Tuesday's public sitting of the committee, Ningo Prampram MP Sam George produced an October 29, 2019 letter from JNPC's board secretary Matilda Ohene to the CEO communicating the board's approval of the donations and sponsorships. 400,000 cedis of the amount was to support preparations for the Damba Festival. 300,000 cedis went to the 20th anniversary celebration of the Ochehene. 1.5 million Ghana cedis to the Ochehene's Environment and Greening Project, and 550,000 cedis to Iyoko. 120,000 cedis also went to the Rebecca Foundation and $30,000 to the Ghana Boxing Association, whilst 50,000 cedis went to the Ghana Journalists Association. JNPC Deputy CEO Joseph Dazi told the committee he did not have the full details of the issue, as it is the JNPC Foundation which runs such sponsorship and donation activities. This prompted PAC Chairman James Aveji to question why the GNPC board was approving the donations instead of the GNPC Foundation's board of trustees. Tempest fled as MPP MP on the committee, Mohammed Hadi, intervened, questioning why the committee chairman was interrogating the issue when it's not part of the 2017 Auditor General's report that the committee was looking at. James Aveji, in the midst of the heated exchange, dared the NPP MP to take over his position as chairman if he felt something wrong was being done.
Usually when we are sitting, we don't need his presence personally, but we need his representative, who is the person of Mr. Duku. And Mr. Duku has been here, and today was present with his team. So once the rep of the Auditor General is here, it is assumed the Auditor General is here. So the physical presence of
Mr. Dumalovo would not
affect the work of the committee.
But we know you've had concerns about him being on leave. Do those concerns still stand, even after the back and forth between himself and the presidency and his office?
Yeah, we have those concerns. We think that the Auditor General is not supposed, or his work is not supposed to be interfered by anybody. But that is an issue which is in court, so we might not comment much on it. Let's wait for the outcome of the proceedings of the court. But that is our position, that the Auditor General's work need not to be interfered by anybody.
And for you, what the presidency did by asking him to go on leave amounts to an interference?
I've said it severally, but it is wrong for the president to do that. As we said, there is nothing in our record that should talk about accumulated leave, and then also, even if there is anything like that, interfering, asking the Auditor General to proceed on leave amounts to interfering in his work. But the provision of the Constitution was clear. The Auditor General should not be interfered in the conduct of his work by any institution or anybody. And so that is something that we are standing on.
And you remain confident that the court will uphold this position?
Yeah, we think so. We pray that the court look at the proceedings and look at the provision of the Constitution and then rule in favor of the Auditor General.
Ningo Prampram MP Sam George explained to Joy News why he believes there's something fishy about the donations to Iyoko, the Ochehene's Palace, and the other entities.
The issue was simple. I asked the GNPC rep, the deputy CEO, if GNPC does corporate social responsibility. His response was clear. The GNPC does not do corporate social responsibility. An agency of the GNPC called the GNPC Foundation, which is a legal entity, does corporate social responsibility. Then I asked a follow-up question. On what basis then do I have in my possession a 25th October 2019 memo signed by Madame Matilda Ohene, who is the board secretary of GNPC, not the foundation, authorizing payments almost worth 5 million Ghana cedis, 1.8 million Ghana cedis to the Ochehene for the celebration of his 20th anniversary, 120,000 Ghana cedis to the Rebecca Kufuor Foundation, $30,000 to the Ghana Boxing Association, 50,000 Ghana cedis to the Ghana Journalists Association, 400,000 Ghana cedis for the Damba Festival, and 550,000 Ghana cedis for Iyoko. These were specific questions I asked, and I said, does the GNPC Foundation have a board of trustees? And she said yes. That board of trustees is the ultimate responsibility for approvals. So how then now are we seeing GNPC as an entity do approvals of this amount for this specific interventions? It's against, and how, I don't understand how Iyoko, which is a statutory body with a funding line under a different ministry, how giving 550,000 Ghana cedis of GNPC money to Iyoko is corporate social responsibility. And this was on the back of GNPC telling the committee that they were cash-strapped.
But NPP MP and ranking member on the committee, Kofi Otri-Ejekum, says the minority is pursuing a more political mischief.
It was not, it's unfortunate, it was not the appropriate platform. First of all, our mandate is to look at the Auditor General's report. And in this case, we are looking at Auditor General Report 2017. So if you ask any question that is outside that purview, we normally, it's not allowed. And before you even allowed to ask a question, it is up to the leadership of the committee to agree that this is okay, what we normally call public interest question. But you see, we as a committee should not be questioning people who are not before us. Iyoko is not before us. GNPC Foundation is not before us. So whom are you asking the question? Unless you want to do political mischief. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. So I think it was not the appropriate place for it, because those people were not before us. And they are not issues raised by the Auditor General. So it was inappropriate. It was simply political. And we as a committee try to avoid such things. But we can also, the other side can also do things like that. And I don't think it will then derail the objective of the committee. We are supposed to look at issues impartially, devoid of political, if you like, political strategies and that sort of thing. So the question was not appropriate. It was not for the forum.
But as is Christian, a public interest question, shouldn't the public be interested if GNPC is spending up to what, $5 million or so, including money that's going to chiefs and money that's going to local, and demanding answers on that?
Organizations, corporations, ministries spend money for public interest and all that. They spend money in all sorts of things. But the point I'm making is that it is not up to us. You see,
if not the people's representative, then who? Then who should be asking those questions? It is not up to because us. Obviously GNPC money is the same. It's not up to us to judge the wisdom of that thing, unless the people are before us and we are able to ask them questions. Now they are not before us. We have not invited them on that issue. So if you ask that question, who should answer? That is all I'm saying. And we operate within a law set by the Constitution to look at the report of the Auditor General. Were these issues in the report of the Auditor General? It was not. So it was not appropriate. And I'm saying that our optimal objective is to make sure that we do our work without anybody trying to introduce politics into it as well. Because you see, I can tell you, these reports we are looking at are 2016 reports, even though we call it 2017. There are issues that happened in 2016, 2014, and 2015. And if you want to do politics, there are many issues that we also can raise. That will be political.
Meanwhile, Chairman of Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, James Kluje Aveji, says the absence of the Auditor General, who the President has directed to go on leave from the sitting of the committee, will not affect its work. He, however, insists the directive is out of place. And still in Parliament, the minority is backing calls by the Ghana Private Schools Association for a bailout so they can pay their teachers who have been home for the last 6 months. Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee, Dr. Clement Apak, is asking government to apologize to the Private Schools Association for not seeking their inputs before deciding to postpone reopening of basic schools to next year. He says the situation is taking a toll on teachers in private schools and government has to intervene.
and they were not part of the decisions that informed the president's announcement. And I don't think that augurs well for us as a nation and for the educational sector, especially in this time where we all have to close ranks and move in unison. So the government and the president has disappointed stakeholders in the educational sector by not allowing them to proffer their opinions on the way forward. And I think for that, there ought to be an apology.
An apology to say what exactly?
Well, to apologize to them for indicating that they were going to be consulted and included, and their views were going to matter in decision making.
Okay.
Only for a decision to be made without consulting them and factoring in their various positions as would have been expected.
But as an educationist yourself, that final decision is in the interest of the country to the extent that students are to come back from January at the basic level because of COVID-19. If you are in decision-making position, would you have done anything different, or there's something you would have backed?
Well, my decision would have been based on a consultative process with stakeholders, and that is where the president is being faulted. Because if the committee that was set up by the minister at his behest was allowed to have done its work, I think that these issues would not have come to bear. So it is not about my personal preference, because the educational sector is a very big sector with various stakeholders. And given the circumstances that we find ourselves in, the best thing would have been to listen to everyone, to weigh whatever proposals that they had, and then reach a consensus about the way forward. In this case, even if government disagreed with the positions that the owners of private schools were going to make, I believe that by having access to also proffer their opinions, government would have had the opportunity to explain to them and justify why government thought that the path that it had chosen was the best option.
Residents of the beach town of Busua in the western region are hailing a decision to reopen the country's international airport to commercial flights. The small town, which is a hotbed for tourists, mainly from the US and Europe, has had its local economy badly hit since the airport closure and suspension of international travel as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. They're hopeful the local economy will begin to pick up as the tourists start trickling in. Here's Joy News' Justice Beidou with more.
Felix Bentum is not sure what the future holds now. He had built a company that used to connect tourists who wanted to volunteer in Ghana. In under 5 years, he had brought over 500 people from all over the world to work and holiday in the beach town of Busua, where he has lived all his life.
I had to send back all the volunteers I had from the UK in March because as at when the virus was starting to rise, the parents and the families of the volunteers were a bit like paranoid, and then everyone was calling, and so I had to send them back home. I had about 120 bookings for this year, only in the UK. So like it was going to be a very big boost for the project and then the program as well, and it's also going to boost the economy of the village as well.
Depending on where you are or what you do, you will feel the impact of COVID-19 differently. But this small town, one that largely survives on the thousands of tourists who come here every day, was brutally hit when borders were shut.
It's a bit of tragedy because nobody's coming and...
Kangaroo Pouch, run by middle-aged Ya Echa, has not had any guests for 3 months now. It employs 10 full-time staff and is one of over 15 guest houses in this small town. Half of that number have folded up in the last 3 months alone.
Nobody's coming, and I got the workers, I have to pay them, but because of the situation, I can't sack them, and also, I'm just keeping them. And as you've seen all the place, nobody is here, so quiet and been very, very sad. Nobody knows when is this going to get to the end.
I'm afraid we're not going to see that increment. Even if it gets better in a few months, it's going to be reduced because of the virus.
For the villagers of Busua, it's a daily struggle of counting down the clock until borders open again. and for the tourists who have for years held its local economy up to come back. Justice Beidou, Joy News, Lucia.
It's live on Joy News Prime. We'll take a break. When we return, there is more in business and sports.
And welcome back to business here on Joy Prime. Joy News Prime. Solar Taxi Limited has introduced electronic vehicles into the Ghanaian transport sector. The vehicle, which comes in different types, is the first of its kind to be introduced here in Ghana for commercial use. Nicholas Brown has more in this report.
Solar Taxi is an initiative started by Kumasi Hive and sponsored by MasterCard Foundation that seeks to create environmental, social and economic impact in Ghanaian communities by harnessing the renewable energy of the sun and using it to power our vehicles. During the launch of the electronic vehicles, Operations Associate at Solar Taxi, KATH tells Joy Business they've achieved their target of creating employment.
Climate change we have been enduring and also the air pollution we have been enduring. Through this initiative, we've been able to create employment for the youth because as you observe, there are so many young people in our staff, and we have been able to also empower women in STEM. All our engineers are female, and they actually built the electric bikes, our first model, from scratch with parts, imported parts from China. So they built it from scratch, and they were the ones, the brain behind the function of the electric vehicles. Let me say electric bikes. Now we have cars, so electric bikes. So today, you being here is to help us outdoor our new electric cars, so that not just the public is not just aware of it, but they are also informed of the efficiency of electric cars, which we are using to mitigate climate change.
Marketing Associate of Solar Taxi, Barbara Tucci, walks us through the pricing of the newly launched electronic vehicles.
This hatchback goes for 100,000 Ghana cedis. That's for an outright purchase. And then the rentals goes for 800 cedis a month. And then the SUV is 200,000 Ghana cedis. And the rental a month is 1,000 cedis.
So is it that when you are leasing it, that's when it goes for 800 Ghana cedis a month? Do you do leasing?
For now, we don't do leasing. It's just the renting and the purchasing.
So you say the purchasing goes for?
The hatchback or the coupe, it's 100,000 cedis, and the renting is 800 cedis a month.
To purchase it outrightly, do you have any payment schedule that I can go with?
No, please. It's a ready cash, like a cash down payment. We don't do.
I can't come and give you half of the amount.
Come and follow you. No, we don't do that. But if you want to rent, the least you can do is 1 month. So let's say 2 months and you are taking this, it's 1,600. So you pay 30 to 50% of the 1,600, and in 2 weeks' time, we will send you a notification that maybe you have to pay. You pick up your car in, let's say, 3rd or 6th September. Then on that date, you top up your remaining balance and you come and pick it up.
Taking a test drive in the hatchback electronic vehicle, Daniel Ahinfo, a driver's associate, tells me how efficient the electronic vehicle is.
It's fully electronic, and with the first prototypes we had, it was fully manual steering, which was very difficult, but this time around it's power steered, so it makes it very easy to control.
So what do you mean by manual steered and power steered? What's the difference?
So the power steering has a gear and it makes it very easy to control, as you can see. But with the manual one, you have full control over the steering. So anytime you have to make a turn, you need to go hard. Okay. You understand? And it's very silent, as you can see. You don't hear emissions, you don't hear engine sounds and all that. It's just the tires on the road, and it's very smooth. So, one thing I would want to tell everyone out there, that these EV cars have come to stay, and I think in the next 5-10 years, no one would want to buy an expensive car and would want to spend huge amounts of money buying fuel almost there all the time. You understand? If you have an EV car, you don't have a problem. All you need to do is charge your car and you're on the go. You don't need to prepare budgets for fuel all the time. All you need is stable electricity, and you're good to go.
Now that sounds like a lot of fun. And one of the largest cosmetic manufacturing firms in the country, Nivea, is advocating for corporate bodies to show appreciation to health workers and frontline workers in the country for their hard work. According to the company, their commitment in the country since the outbreak of coronavirus has been phenomenal and deserved the commendation. Country manager for Beiersdorf West Africa, producers of Nivea cream, Olivier Botson, made the call when the company donated some of its product to the Ghana Health Service for distribution to health workers in the country.
The products from Nivea are for distribution to health workers in the country to aid in their quest to protect themselves from contracting the virus. According to the country manager for Beiersdorf West Africa, Olivier Botson, health workers have been working hard to secure many businesses and lives amidst the pandemic, hence the show of support. This, he said, is part of its corporate social responsibility to the society.
Beiersdorf is the maker of Nivea globally, and we decided to reward and to thank all public healthcare workers, frontline healthcare workers globally. This is our contribution to the community. This is our way to say thank you and to say we care for them and for everything they've done for us during the pandemic.
What are you giving them today?
So we are donating today 50,000 pieces of Nivea cream thinner. So this is a very rich cream that enables protection of the skin. And healthcare workers have been sanitizing their hands, they've been washing their hands while taking care of the COVID-19 patients, and therefore their hand might have become very dry.
He has also been justifying the timing for the donation and explained other support by the company since the outbreak.
You always say thank you when somebody has done something, right? So that is the full purpose we're doing this now. Earlier in the pandemic, we actually donated 1,500 liters of sanitizers when really the need was around sanitizer. So, and that was a donation to help with the need at that time. This is a thank you for the community.
The Director General at the Ghana Health Service extended a hand of appreciation for the kind gesture.
News there. That's it for business from me, and we go again for sports here on Joy News Prime.
And it's time to bring you the second installment of sports here on Joy News Prime. My name is Hans Mensando. Ghana and indeed, Ghana football and indeed Ghana continues to wait for the Court of Arbitration for Sports verdict in the matter involving both Frederick Kupama and the Ghana Football Association. That is in respect of the former's disqualification from the Ghana Football Association presidential elections last year. Now, the verdict was supposed to have been delivered on the 4th of August, but postponed to today, September 1st. Well, as at this moment, there is nothing to show that the verdict has been delivered by KATH, but my colleague Muftar Abdullah Nabila has been following events and he joins me via Zoom. So Muftar, nothing on KATH's website, obviously, but do you know if this verdict has been communicated to the parties involved?
Hans, I can tell you on authority that at this point, I had a privilege of engaging at least two members of one of the parties, and I was clear a verdict is yet to be delivered to the Ghana Football Association, and then that of Wilfred Osei-Kupama. So the interesting thing is that yesterday I had reported that people shouldn't be surprised and they shouldn't be too expectant awaiting the ruling, because as at the last time I had a communication with KATH, which was on August 7th, the communication officer of KATH, Cathy Hogg, had told me that the KATH panel were working on it and they were going to deliver their verdict on September 1. But one interesting thing that the public do not know is that the Court of Arbitration for Sport has been trying to reach out, or they've been reaching out to members of the now defunct Normalization Committee to provide answers to some allegations raised by the plaintiff here in the person of Wilfred Osei-Kweku. And a publication I had put out earlier on July 31, 2019, indicating that Palmer was going to be disqualified from contesting the FA election. So I was made to understand that the verdict was going to be dependent on what the responses of the parties was going to be. And as we speak, We cannot tell authoritatively whether the parties have responded to KATH's request, but what we do know is that the last 2 times that KATH decided to adjourn the final award of ruling was because they were awaiting some responses from a key member of the normalization committee here, in the person of Dr. Kofi Amoah, because in the publication I had put out, I clearly indicated that his friend, who was Mr. Frank Davis, was the head of the vetting committee who disqualified Wilfred Osei-Kwekupoama from contesting the FA elections. I can clearly say that KATH had written to him to confirm whether Frank Davis was his friend, but here we were made to understand that KATH was still awaiting that response. And KATH was also asking that if the normalization committee insists that they did not disqualify Palmer because he didn't have the integrity as they claim, how come a media had reported it 4 months before the vetting committee took that decision with these exact reasons that were reported?
Right, Nabila,
so
now
has been waiting on them. If the normalization committee gives that response, then we should be having the verdict. But let's not also forget that the verdict can still come true, because when Wilfred Osei-Kwekupoama applied for procedures or conservative measures to stop the presidential elections, the award came in midnight. So there's still the possibility that KATH can still communicate to us about a final ruling. But I anticipate they're likely to adjourn it again.
Okay, so I was coming to ask if indeed, we're looking at another postponement, but we probably have to wait, like you're saying, up until maybe midnight then.
Yeah, we will have to wait until midnight. And also tomorrow morning. I think that latest by tomorrow morning, we should have an idea about the next line of action KATH would be taking. And I would also follow up to KATH to find out what actually is happening. Definitely. I'll link up with Cathy Hawk, and whatever the feedback would be, the general public and our viewers will get to know.
Thank you very much, Muftar Abdullahi Nabila there, my colleague, following the matters involving the Ghana Football Association and Wilfred Osei-Kwekupoama. The KATH verdict, Ghana has been waiting for it all day, but as Muftar said, we probably have to wait until maybe midnight and, of course, the early hours of tomorrow morning. And, of course, when it does break, you check out the Joy Sports page on the various social media platforms on Facebook, Joy Sports, on Twitter, Joy Sports, and on Instagram, Joy Sports. That's your sports for now. My name is Hans Mainsando. Many thanks for your time.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now time for the Joy News Interactive, and you've been following that conversation. Some few weeks ago, you heard about the other minority parties talking about why we should also include them in the discussion as we gear up to the election 2020, because we've always been talking about opposition NDC. Now we have other minorities like CPP, PNC, ACP, but today there are issues with the PNC, which is sharply divided on which dates to elect its candidates for the flag bearership for the 2020 elections. We posted that on our Facebook page. PNC Congress Leadership remains sharply divided over dates for party's national Congress, and that has generated a number of comments. Sechi Eric says, you were busily fighting over registration. Simple Congress you can't organize. By Jeremiah, I thought PNC is dead and buried for long. Since 2016, I never heard about leadership of PNC talk on national issues on authority of PNC. The leaders of PNC have done more harm than good to the party. Atumat says, Bernard Mona, they're waiting for you at the Supreme Court. Rented party chairman. Bright Owuso Paris says, Master, leave PNC. You are troubling and disgracing the party too much. Raphael says, see, Red Barrett, seen on Red Barrett, your NAPCO self will large past your party. You know, fit. Okay, I don't quite get what you're trying to say. Richard Lano says he looks like, oh, let's not be harsh. Lincoln says, is PNC political party again? Mona turn it to fan club. And Madaki Roda says, hey, and Kweko Frimpon says, you see. Okay, so those are some comments on that issue. Those on the date. And also we posted this one, approved allowances for GFA officials. President 12,000 a month, Vice President 7,000 a month, ESCO members 4,000 a month. Approved at the 26th GFA Ordinary Congress in Pram. And let's see the comments coming up. Abugri Azuma Alex says, you see, the value is the same, chop GFA. If we talk, they say football people. Football people will fill the stadia themselves. Dear Basa. Enim Autry says, this is not normal. Government should not help the Ghana Football Association any money, because for me, the Ghana Football Association is telling the government of Ghana that the organization is rich. Oyal says, allowance in Pony. Ghana is not a serious country. Joseph Insana says, only 2 months is more than someone's entire working salaries with hard work, waking up early and getting home late. Ghana. Alexander Boateng says, and a well-trained teacher is collecting 1,200 a month. God have mercy. And Yamua says, those talking plenty. Do you have an idea what those politicians you're willing to die for are receiving as certain allowances, not stock of salaries and that ex gracias? If there should be a change, it should start from Parliament and down to Football Association. Those are some comments on Facebook. That'll be it for the interactive segment, and that'll also be it for the bulletin tonight. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. PM Express comes up next. We're looking at the Japa deal, that controversy that is refusing to go. Today, the minority NDC is launching fresh attacks on government. We'll be hearing all of that and also do the analysis for you on PM Express. Stay tuned in on the Joy News channel.